So welcome everyone to the Brisbane InDesign User Group. Apologies to those listening at home with the bad quality of the microphone because I left my good microphone at home and this is very much the emergency microphone. So cool. So tonight we're talking about free stuff. There's all kinds of free stuff. Now you might, if you're going to get some inspiration for a design, you might want to design with something, specific that you want to use. So super fancy background or font. You can get textures and brushes and all kinds of things. Those things over there were actually offered to me this week because I signed up to Creative Market's mailing list. And Creative Market sends you links to free stuff every week. So you've got 6 things to download. So there's tons of places online. You can Google for this, and that is often the answer, Google for it, but there's lots of things to watch out for. So what is free? How many things, what kind of things can you find? Where do you get it? How do you install it? And how do you make best use of it? So that's what we're going to look at. So what does free mean? There's a few different classes of kind of free. And number one is public domain. Public domain is totally free. If you put stuff in the public domain, anyone can do anything with it, including resell it and claim it as their own work. So only do that if you're okay with that. There is a lot of public domain stuff out there, including all the shots of the moon that were taken on the moon. Everything that NASA makes, everything that the US government makes is public domain. So that stuff's very cool. Very good for using in any kind of context. Creative Commons is the next best thing, which is effectively some rights reserved. And it's nearly always free with attribution. Now, Creative Commons do have a variation called CC0, which is basically exactly like public domain. So that's good, but all the other Creative Commons, you have to put an attribution. Now, Creative Commons is not necessarily the only license you can put on a photo or a font or whatever. You might then put a commercial license on which lets you not attribute someone. So you have 2 options then. Pay nothing, but credit the author, credit the music maker or author or whatever kind of artist they are, or pay to remove the attribution. Now, there's lots of different kinds of Creative Commons. Some of them are viral. If you see share alike on a Creative Commons license, that means that the stuff you make has to be shared in the same way. So you have to Creative Commons license the things you make with that art. So watch out for that one. If you don't want to share the stuff as Creative Commons, then don't use a share alike license, or don't use any work which comes with a share alike license. But if you do license your work CC, then you can have, really good benefits. I've put out work that I've licensed Creative Commons and people have seen it and shared it. The main thing is they don't need to ask, can I use this in my work? Because they know that's what Creative Commons is for. And then lots more people use it. And, people are more likely to promote it. So there are other kinds of license. A lot of websites come with their own licenses. Some of them try to restrict commercial use of all kinds of things. Some of them are completely unrealistic. I don't think you can restrict Photoshop brushes. I think that's insane. But the license tries to for some of these things. And some other kinds of software doesn't really come with an explicit license that's easy to find. It does usually have a license. And for that, it's like the stuff that comes with, say, GarageBand in terms of sound effects, or Pages and Keynote in terms of clip art. The bits of music that come with your system. The desktop pictures that come with the Mac, that kind of thing. All of those are probably okay to use as long as you don't resell the files. So watch out for all of those, and if you're really worried, just check out the licenses. Also remember, other people have all of those. Anything, if you use GarageBand music, you can guarantee people have heard it before. Cool. So what's not free? Royalty free does not mean free. And you'll discover this as soon as you start Googling for free images, because you find royalty-free images, which are not free at all. So royalty-based stock art and other kinds of stock products mean that you pay per copy of the finished artwork. Generally, that's reserved for exclusive, hard-to-get stuff, and it's not very common these days that people would sign up for royalty-based stuff, because there's so much royalty-free. It depends on the content. Like if you were to get a photo of, a royal princess sunbathing topless, I'm sure that would be royalty based because there's more money to be made of something exclusive that people want like that. I'm sure they do, yeah. So the biggest stock libraries will have royalty-based stuff. And sometimes it's just a vague limit of, you can use this up to 10,000 units, then you have to pay more money. Which, could be a problem if it was a big success. So watch out for that stuff. But I found it on Google is obviously not free necessarily at all. Don't ever search for stuff on Google like images, because you are going to find a whole heap of copyrighted images. The golden rule, just because you can doesn't mean you should. Teach your clients, oh, I found this thing on Google, can you use it? And then they give you this 300 by 400 pixel JPEG that came off a magazine. It's like, no, it's not, for copious reasons. So now, there are loads of paid sites out there. You can pay more and get curated images that are high quality, yada, yada, yada. So, don't be afraid to pay for images if you have a budget to do so. This is about free stuff, so I'm not going to talk about those tonight. There are paid options, including Adobe Stock and Shutterstock and Getty. Okay. So, now we're into different kinds of free stuff. So, free photos. Those 4 sites are probably the ones I would recommend the most. Pexels, Unsplash, Pixabay, and stocksnap.io. Okay? So they are all totally free. You don't have to attribute the photographer. Of course, if you're in the position to attribute them, it would be nicer to give them a credit. All of those sites mix in their free images with sponsored links. So look out for the little grey boxes at the top of a site that are not actually free. So we've looked at Pexels and Unsplash in a previous meeting, so let's look at Pixabay, I guess. All right, what do we want to look for? Suggestions, please. Panels, solar panels. That makes more sense.
Sorry.
Okay, so section at the top, sponsored images. You have to pay for all of these. However, there's another 229, some of which looking perfectly usable, that you don't have to pay for at all. I mean, that's great. The other thing you have to consider with any of these is the photographer's given their rights away to the public domain for these. Have the people in the shots. Now, if you can't identify people by their faces, I think you're very unlikely to have any problems. Maybe I might be cautious about, these guys. And some of these with houses, if they do look distinctive, the people have property rights over those photos. You're not supposed to take photos of the Eiffel Tower at night because the people who installed the lighting have a copyright over the Eiffel Tower. You certainly can't sell a photo of it. You're not even supposed to take the photo these days. Duh. Anyway, so watch out for any of that stuff. I mean, we could try that.
One of the most common search, cat. Cat is the most common search.
Okay, so photos exist. That's good. I'm glad they are. I think we should all go home and set a nice Eiffel Tower desktop picture in protest at this silly, silly copyright ruling. Okay, so these are all pretty much the same kind of thing. Just avoid the sponsored links if you want free stuff. But if you can't find what you're looking for and you've got a budget, go to the paid stuff. Now, Flickr is really good. Flickr is, long-standing photography website. Now, you'll find some quite specific stuff here, but be really careful with licensing because there's all kinds of licenses. You'll find lots of different Creative Commons licenses here. All right, so let's look for solar panels again. So if you just do a search for solar panels, it'll search through everybody's photos, and it quickly found 68,000 photos. However, we're looking for any license, or these are all Creative Commons, except the last couple, public domain and US government public domain. So if we search for commercial use and modifications allowed, it's probably what you want to do if you want to. I don't know where the modifications line falls. Is it cropping? Is it color correction? Color correction probably yes, cropping maybe not, I don't know. Let's go with mods. Okay, so these ones we can use commercially, we can modify. This is pretty good. And to actually download any of these, just go into the image and look for that little button there, download. The resolution on a lot of these varies quite a bit. Pixabay and all those other ones are all really high res, but a lot of people don't necessarily upload super high res stuff here. For example, not so good. So Flickr is not so reliable, but you can find some gems that certainly haven't been released fully into the public domain this way. So I would recommend stick them in a library once you've got them. Make a Lightroom library, Photos library, even Bridge, and then keyword and search them. So if you're building up a big bank of these things that you know you want to use for a specific client or something, organize them. Don't just stick them in a folder and hope. See what you can do if you can. Or you can just search each time, I guess. But I guess all these four good big sites aren't going to fall over immediately. And look, there may well be other sites just like these. But hey, I thought 4 was probably enough with the same class of thing. All right, cool. So, photos. That's what I'd recommend for those. Videos. Okay, 2 of the places we just looked at offer you free videos. So, did you need a picture of snow that moves? It's like, well, and again, just like with photos, releases could be an issue. That one's fine. I mean, that's not a distinctive location. There's no people in it. And the resolution was good enough. I mean, that's great. Public domain video is pretty hard to find. So look out for that if you need to do any video stuff. Some of those sites also do that. You can also find some freebies from the paid stock library. So I'll occasionally give away videos. If you want to build up a bank of those, then sign up for their mailing lists and download stuff every now and again. I know the stock photo libraries do that as well, but I find that so hit and miss that I just don't bother anymore. They're not the best shots. I don't know if anyone's doing video stuff. Video? Yay! Okay, well, if you want anything for Final Cut Pro 10, FCPXfree.com is a massive free collection of everything. It is free. I don't think there's even any ads on the site yet. And I don't run the site, but I do write a lot of their articles because it's run by Coremelt. I do a lot of work for Coremelt, but this is just all free stuff. So if you need anything, that's an easy place for video editing. FCPX free, sure. All right, so yes, there we are. So there's over 1,000 things in lots of different classes, so you can get effects, generators, titles, transitions, apps, and can't remember what they are. And if you want to read the blog, this is all best ofs, top 5s, top 10s, highlighting particular things, and I write those, most of them anyway. Yeah. So for example, if you want to make an animated, so this is infographics, but animated infographics, right? So if you have Final Cut 10, you've got percentage elements, and you can animate things, and this is how you animate them. You can make graphs like that. Or you can just do it in Keynote with a transparent background and export as a full res, mega ProRes 444 transparency, which is great. So anyway, yeah, and that's me. Cool. So recommended if for Final Cuts. Vectors. Asking about vectors. Okay, so the free stuff in Keynote pages and numbers is pretty good. Now I've gone on about this over and over again, but let's do it one more time. In the shape dropdown, you have the basic shapes and so much more clip art that you might as well just start here. Because a lot of vectors, it's in Keynote and pages and numbers, a lot of vectors you'll find online are bad, and they have a difficulty finding ones that mesh together because the styles are all different. These all work together. I mean, look at the different kinds of great apes and monkeys. That's cool. I like it. I don't think they were ever very good. But these are really nice. So all you need to do, if you want to use one of these, drag it in, make it bigger, pick a color. If you want to put a stroke on it, you can put a stroke on it. If you want to put text on it, I'll probably pick a better shape that's got a big hole in the middle. There we go. Double click, water, pick a better font. Select it, pick a better font. Export to PDF. Done, yep. So, yes. Recommended. Okay.
Is it free for PC?
No, but you can go to iCloud.com, which is free. You just need an Apple ID, go to iCloud.com, works from a PC, and then yes, you can get all of the same shapes. And export to PDF again and download it. So yeah, this all works from PC. If you've got an iPhone or an iPad, works there as well, same deal. And the online version has live collaboration with other people. You can invite people to share your document and all edit at the same time. It's very good. So the other vector stuff here, and this is a cute vector graphic I found at one of these sites, public domain vectors. A quick post-recording note, a lot of content from publicdomainvectors.org seems to come from openclipart.org, so you can use that site if you prefer. Free vector artwork. When I was researching this stuff, I found a whole heap of sites, which I'm going to talk about, and all of them require you to attribute. This one does not. Public domain vectors does seem to mean what it says on the tin, and is actually totally free. Now, a lot of these, the quality is very hit and miss, but it is actually public domain stuff. All right, what do we want to look for? Flowers. Flowers. Oh, aren't they great? Okay, so we've got some very kind of 80s flowers. I can see that being used. What else? Oh, that's just charming. Okay, maybe that one. There's 13 pages of this stuff. So really, it just comes down to how much you value your time versus having to pay for something. Okay, so with any of these, again, Shutterstock promo stuff, but that's okay. Download, great, public domain. Butterflies, public domain, download. And it's just straightforward. They're showing up as SP. That's pretty ugly. Download. Anyway, come on. No, that's good. So look, it did work. It is free. It is public domain. It's okay. So I have to say I don't hate that. So these ones here, these are slightly better, but not necessarily better. Any picks, any requests about which one we should go to? Vexels? Okay. Let's have a look. Okay, so featured graphic resources, latest graphics. All right, let's just search for flowers. It's a bit vague. It's also got PSDs here. Vectors. So floral patterns. Some of these are better, like repeating patterns as well. So let's look at that one and that one. I was just going to do one at a time. Okay. So if you want to use this commercially, it'll cost you $5 or $10 a month. I mean, if you were going to use that commercially, $5 is nothing. So I really don't have a problem with that. It's okay. That seems all right. Let's try another one. Vecteezy. But we are getting away from the free part of things. They're not really totally free if you want to use them. Okay, if this says premium, it means it's not free. Let's try this one. Attribution required, which could be fine. Attribution required. So the standard license, always read the fine print in any of these. Learn more. So print, please add vecteezy.com in the final copy. If you're going to use merchandise, you have to buy credits. If you're going to make merchandise using it. Yeah, commercial use license, yada, yada, yada. And they're pretty much all like that. So again, I think with vector stuff at least, and it's odd that the situation's so different between photo stuff and vector stuff. but it's probably just worth paying a small amount of money
Yeah.
rather than looking through the tiny selection of actually free stuff.
What if you see a vector that you can draw
Mm-hmm.
pretty much the same as what they've got?
Mm-hmm.
What's the law?
Okay.
Because
That's a
I'm
great
thinking
question.
infographics and the project.
The net, yeah.
Yep, they've got so much there.
I think
Absolutely wonderful, but you've
Yeah.
seen them all before. Why can't you just draw on the sheet?
I think if you draw them yourself, there's only if they're really stylized, there's only so many ways you can draw, you know, a person. So yeah, I don't know. This is with attribution again. I'm not sure. I am not a lawyer, but I suspect that it's probably okay if you do something similar.
Let's take a shopping. You know, like you see them there. Yeah, I can just use that because I can't draw, but I can. Get once I've got something there, I can say, oh yeah, that's sort of fine.
Yeah.
But what's the? And you see so many of them around all this. But if you need to there, do a nice screenshot, have a look. Yeah. Make a different colour.
I think if you were to draw something similar and make it just a tiny bit different, I think it'd be fine. Just because they're all pretty similar. But look, there are often public domain ones. You know, in terms of public domain vector, remember there's the IGA graphics if you need the symbols used in airports. It's like the toilet door symbols and the planes and all of that stuff. And I'm going to show. I've shown this enough times. So this is an animation I did, but way back in 2006, entirely using those symbols.
Yep.
I'm not going to let it play too long. Anyway, so those arrows, and this guy, and all these people, and so this was originally done in Flash. But I licensed it Creative Commons, and that helped it get a lot of promotion and get seen by tons and tons of people. So all these symbols are free. You can download these from aiga.com, and they're useful. So don't reinvent the wheel. aiga, aiga.org. But let's just say aiga, airport, symbols, download. Yeah, symbol signs. So you can download the complete set, and I even put them in a font. So if you want, if you Google that and probably font on there, then you can download the font version. Because they're all public domain, so you can do it whatever you like. Cool. All right. So icons are kind of separate to vector. So I kind of broke them out a bit. So public domain vectors, flat icon. If you really, really want icons, they do need attribution though. The noun project is pretty interesting. Often but not always requiring attribution. High quality though. Pretty consistent. They're pretty nice. Sometimes it's just not feasible to attribute something though. So a project I did recently where I was looking for some hands to use as like swipey icons, and it was going in a free project, so there wasn't really a budget, there wasn't really a good place to attribute the hands, but I found a free one that required no attribution and then modified it a bit to do what I wanted. But if you can attribute or just buy it, the noun project is pretty cool. So they're not free, they're royalty free. Flowers. There's got to be an icon for flowers. Oh, look at that. Aren't they nice? Mind you, like recreating something like that, doddle. Yeah, I mean, a lot of these, you know, all you need to do is use make an effect which rotates something round by a certain degree, and then make a shape, and then just modify it a few times. You could create 20 different versions of that very easily. Now that requires a bit more effort, but you know, just treat it as fun.
Do shopping trolley.
A shopping trolley.
Shopping trolley. Now, because this is, you know, sort of thing that's used a lot. Look at that. Now,
Yeah, that is, there's so many shopping trolleys.
so they've chosen every idea. I think just choose one and draw it. Do you reckon it has to be
If it's
legal.
different, yeah, if it is different, there's only so many ways you can do this. I find that unless it's probably not going to be the only the only icon you use on your site though. So the bigger problem is getting a consistent set of icons. And that may be too much of a hassle, at which point you just buy a set.
Yeah, that's fine.
So yeah, that's probably the answer. All right, so yeah, just stick them all in the folder, preview with the Find All Bridge. I have found if you have low-res previews, it will help a lot. True vectors can be a little hard to preview. I'm not sure if the Finder previews SVG files yet. Anyone? Does it? svg.xml. Ugh. Okay, SVG. Here's SVG. It does, look at that. So yes, you can preview SVGs. I found though if you have EPSs, they can be very slow to preview. You can't view them very well. So having the whole collection as JPEG can really help. So just run a batch Photoshop action over your collection every now and again. Make some JPEGs. Fonts. I put a giant warning up here, which is from one of the sites. I'll show you. It's kind of amusing that they stuck this warning in. Now, in no way do I recommend that you steal fonts. Certainly not if you're using them for commercial work. What I do recommend is use fonts.google.com. Now, we've been here many, many times. Fonts.google.com is the #1 place that I would recommend going for fonts, simply because the vast majority of the time when designers make some decisions about the fonts they're going to recommend for a corporation's branding, the corporation will not purchase those fonts, or certainly they will not purchase those fonts for everyone. And so all your work is utterly wasted because there's like 2 people in the organization who actually have the font, and then they'll just use Arial. Like literally that's what they'll do. So the strongest recommendation I can possibly give you is to choose, if you're going to assign fonts and you need to give the client the fonts, or they could make use of the fonts, go here and find the best thing that they've got and build around that, because otherwise it's a waste of time. You know, clients will not spend hundreds of dollars a seat on fonts. They will just not do it. And there are so many good fonts. Just in sans serif, there are so many nice clear fonts, and like don't choose, Railway is very good. It's just too distinctive and has been used by like Canva and so forth. But there's so many other fonts, like that font. You could use that. Yeah. Now, if you want to download one of these fonts, first thing you want to consider is, are there enough weights? Fira Sans, are there enough weights? Yes, there are. So I've clicked on the font I want. I'm going to consider another one. I've already got Dosis. Let's go with Josephine Sans, sure. So the more you plus, they show up down here. You click this, you hit download, and they download. Okay, they land here in your fonts folder. You open it up. You open both of those up. You select all the fonts and hit open, and then hit install. If you're going to use them on the web, you put in these lines and this line into the right parts. Probably you customize it to only include the weights you actually want to include. But that is it. That is all you need to do to get legal, high-quality fonts that won't annoy anyone. It's just, there are too many good free fonts. I must have already had that one. There are too many good free fonts.
So they're actually...
All of these are 100% free, open source free. Buy them, keep them forever free.
Okay.
Fonts.google.com should be the first and last place you ever recommend clients to get fonts from.
Okay. So,
I've got InDesign open here, so if I just loaded Josephine Sans, and it's right there. So, nope, these are all really good. Like you want accented versions, you want dashes, you want, it's all there. So no, these are proper fonts, full Unicode, etc. Like if we look at the glyphs, absolutely, totally fine. You know, currencies, no, not a problem. So that's the recommendation, fonts.google.com every time. So you can use typekit.com. Since this was recorded, typekit.com has been rebranded Adobe Fonts, and the limit of 100 fonts has been removed. You can also add fonts from directly within the Adobe apps, which makes this much more useful than it was. So if you're okay with only people who have Adobe Creative Cloud having the fonts, then using the Adobe Font service is probably not a bad idea. All right, now all of these are font places which give away lots of free fonts. Now typically if you search for a font which you know should not be free, like say Gotham, it won't be here. Right? So Gotham is a nice font which is incredibly popular, from Hoefler and Frere Jones, who very cleverly got the website typography.com because they were ahead of the game. Yeah. So these are just fonts with Gotham in the name. None of them look like Gotham. They're fine. But they are free fonts. Now, some of them say free for personal use. Some of them say donationware. So your call as to what you do with the licenses, but do observe them if it's for commercial work, at least. And just try to do the right thing. But these fonts are not necessarily 100% reliable. You know, if the lines have not been drawn cleanly, like Winter and Gotham there. Okay, and there are some fonts here which I'd say are not legit. Getthefont.com. I don't think this is legit, and I'd be surprised if it lasts very long. Getthefont.com I found while researching this. I can't recommend doing this, and I don't think I've downloaded anything from this. But if you search for Gotham here, look, there's a font. And this is where we got our warning, because I don't think that's really going to cover them. Turns out this is GitHub. GitHub's a mostly open source programmers repository. A lot of people have put fonts there. Someone figured, I'll put a search engine up for that. So they're not really hosting the fonts, but anyway, it's dodgy. Yeah, there's what the font and the forum. Okay, there's also Identifont, which is built for that too.
But what the forum is amazing. Go, what the font forum. And you just upload everything, and they have a whole list there, and it's amazing. It saved my life a lot of times, because they send me, and if you don't get an answer in, a couple of hours, put it up again, because the right one on.
Wow, that's fun. Okay, I like it.
It is brilliant.
Okay.
That will save your life one day.
Thanks for the tip. I like it. Okay. Cool. So obviously how to use all these fonts, just organize them if you can. Use a font manager. Disable fonts you don't need, or you're going to have a very, very long font list in no time at all. Obviously use a font manager if you're like Suitcase or whatever else. Anyone use anything else? Just Fontbook. Okay, cool. Now there are obviously freebies you can get from giving an email address. Pixelsurplus.com give away freebies, but they just want an email address, so they'll put you on the mailing list. You get some nice free, it's a really slightly better class of stuff that way. Just can't control what you get. Okay, brushes for Photoshop. So Photoshop brushes, I found quite a few, and yeah, there are different licenses out there. These sites are probably the good places I found to get lots of collections like that one. So, whoops, let's skip back. Not all of these made it into links. Okay, allfreedownload.com/Photoshop brushes. Classy name, isn't it? Classy name, classy site. Okay, do we go for grunge patterns too? So you may not be able to see the download link, but there it is. And this says free for non-commercial use only. And a pop-up appeared when I clicked on them. Yeah, great. Just when I clicked anywhere, a pop-up happened. So free for non-commercial use only. I have a problem with that. I just think it's ridiculous. You're going to load 100 Photoshop brushes in, and then it's not realistic to keep track of the ones which were downloaded and you can't use for commercial use. Especially the fact that every brush stroke you add is your own. I don't get it. So I'd maybe think about avoiding ones with those licenses because it's just silly. You don't want to encourage silly things like that. And you will find a lot of articles which are, you know, the 20 best Photoshop brush collections. So there's plenty of those out there. I'm not going to try to list them. You can Google for those. And, you know, there are really a lot of stuff. What, a whole eyebrow?
The whole eyebrow, you just go bang, bang, and that's it. And there's a whole selection of them. Great. And then you've got the hair.
Okay, well, that's pretty good. And this is just one thing. It's available on DeviantArt. That's another good place to go trawling if you want to really spend a lot more time. Go look on DeviantArt, which is listed here, in fact. Oops. So you can install them into Photoshop. Remember, brushes has changed in the latest version. It's now brush and brush settings, I think. Is that right? Yeah. All right. Cool. Procreate. Whoops. Pressed it twice. So Procreate, best drawing thing on the iPad. I've got an iPad here, but it's not hooked up to anything. It's great. Procreate is the best natural media artwork thing. Better than Photoshop. Yes. Sorry, it is for that stuff. For natural media artwork, it's just amazing with an Apple Pencil. And it's mostly articles that you'll need to look for to point you at that. And installing them is harder. So you can load them into a Dropbox folder, load them directly with Procreate, or you can email them to yourself. But if you're doing lots of them, that's pretty tedious. Cool. Is anyone else using Procreate? So awesome. Just so nice. Okay. Now, if you want a big pick and mix collection of everything, then Creative Market is, I think, probably the best source that I've found. 6 freebies a week, 3 more if you buy something, you get another 3 freebies. And they encourage you to pay for other content from the same authors. So, you know, if you like the style of someone who's given away something for free, then you've got more stuff available that will, you know, maybe work with it. And you get stuff like seamless patterns, which are a little harder to find. Some of the vector sites had that. Even weird stuff like Instagram templates, as if it's hard to write #blessed in a script font or put a white box on something. But anywho, you can get Instagram templates. Yeah, so that's quite good. And let me show you what that looks like. This is the email I got 2 days ago. Free goods available this week only. That's a thing, they are only available for a week. So you can go back and, if you see what other people have got through this, then unless you're quick, you'll have to buy your copy. So I've been building this collection up for months now, and I've got a massive collection sitting at home of stuff that I should really organize a whole lot better. Now, it does take a couple of clicks to get this thing. So if you look at the Get It Free button, okay.
So it's
actually free.
No.
Yeah, just actually free. So you get this page. So you get 3 more if you spend some money. Now, I'm not signed in. This is going to force me to sign in, so I'm going to use my magic sign-in stuff. There we go. All right. So let's grab that by pressing free download. Did it work? No. And so here's the thing. The free download button doesn't seem to work for me. So what I tend to do is click on the main picture all 6 times. These are the 3 you would get if you spent some more money. And then look through the actual pages of the next ones, because those links do work. I'm not sure why the first set of links don't work, but download now will actually work. There we go. So it is 1 standard license, but no, this is because this site is mostly about purchase stuff, you don't need to attribute. You're generally paying for access. And if you've got it, A4 and US letter, compatible with blah, 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 blah. That's not bad.
Cool.
Yeah, let's have a look. It's already here. See, I haven't looked at this yet. I kept the surprise for this evening. So here's A4. Here's the InDesign file. Okay, let's critique the work. So Quicksand, it's got links to the fonts, which I haven't downloaded. I've got Paper, so I can sync from Typekit. Sure, let's do that. Quicksand I don't have. Let's just go. All right. Portfolio. Yeah. That's not so bad. Nice. Yeah. Okay, they've got layers. They've got images and graphic elements and tags. Okay. Do they have master pages? Not really. So if you, I guess it's designed for the copying, pasting workflow, but you could convert these into master pages and then use that workflow if you wanted. Just bring them in and break them off. That's not bad. If you want to make a photography portfolio magazine, I'd be quite happy. Of all the words to misspell. Okay, cool. So look, that's not bad. Like it, recommended, creativemarket.com. I don't have any special referral links, just head there and sign up. Obviously, I'd have no commercial interest in anything I'm showing you tonight, but yeah, no, it's nice. I like it. It's good. Yeah, the watercolor collection. And there's free stuff in Adobe apps as well. Don't forget about that. There are templates and things you can download for free in the InDesign start space. Don't overlook that. So how to use it? When you're quiet, go crazy with stock. See what you can make. Do something fun, because I really like this. And this is one of those watercolor pictures which I found last week's Creative Market. And it's just this giant PSD with 12 big watercolor things, each on a separate layer. So open up, copy the layer, new file, paste, chuck it in here. Actually, I just paste it in here, I think. It worked fine. Yeah, so it's fun stuff. You know, people don't care where you get your stuff from. And though I'd love to recommend just take lots of photos, and I do recommend that to a lot of people, just take your own photos. You know, you can't take photos of everywhere around the world. You can get photos of it. But no, might give you ideas. Good practice. What else have you guys found? Twiddles like that? Also found a free something site? I think that was from Creative Market as well, actually. It is quite good. Autumn flowers. Get that. Paper and crayon. Oh, a brushes pack for Procreate that's free. Yes. Love it. Procreate. Awesome. Geometric vector animals? Yeah. I hope I get to use that someday. I'm really, because these are very nice. Rolled ink texture. Cool. Not paint. So there's lots of stuff there. 17 textures, 3 logo templates, instructional video. Very nice. So, you know, these are products which are normally sold for 15, 20 bucks. So they're not low quality. I hope this works as a business model for the people selling stuff through here. Yeah, cool. Nice. All right, it's intermission time. Food time, everyone. We're back soon.